So Roman Empire, very, very interesting. Lasted for about 1,000 years, 1,000 years, right? What did they do? They institutionalized the succession, right? Not necessarily Raja ka beta Raja. It's that who is the best amongst the ministers and so on and so forth, the close-knit family or the extended family, and institutionalize the entire succession, right? And they trained the next generation or the next whosoever next in line on warfare, because warfare was important in those days, political skills, all possible skills, really trained them well. And therefore the Roman Empire, right, lasted for 1,000 years. All right. When we look at Chola dynasty, very close home, 1,500 years. Look at that, 1,500 years. What did they do right? Something. 21 kings over 1,500 years. Eldest son was the heir of the throne, generally, right? But not necessarily. What they also did was they said, let's put a process of succession. So competitive process. So I've got 4 sons or 4 daughters or whatever. Let's have whosoever is most worthy will take the throne. 1,500 years. Crazy, right? They must have done something right to last for that long. Right? Ming Dynasty, China, 300 years. And I can go on and on. Again, followed a very hereditary succession, very beautifully. Education and training was must. The Mauryan Dynasty, right, in India. Great dynasty. We all know that Ashoka the Great started with Chandragupta Maurya, who was trained by the Chanakya, and what an absolutely great empire. His son, Bindusara, never really took on much. The next generation, Ashoka, we all know Ashoka the Great, which is probably the largest empire ever in the history of our country, right? Great empire. But what did he do? No succession planning. He was great, absolutely phenomenal, did a great job. But did he build a succession? Do you know who was after Ashoka? There were 2 kids that he had, a daughter and a son. He went Buddhism way, and the kids also, one went to Sri Lanka, one went some Cambodia, and so on and so forth. The entire dynasty, Mauryan dynasty, dissolved. Right, what a massive dynasty they had built, but dissolved. Right, because they didn't plan succession. Similarly, Mughal Empire, great empire. We all know Mughals, talk about Mughal architecture and whatnot. Great leaders, absolutely fantastic leaders, right? Starting from Babur, Humayun, Akbar the Great. We all know Akbar the Great, again, absolutely fantastic leader, right? Did he train Jahangir enough, right? Then Jahangir, and then we have Shah Jahan. Did Shah Jahan, again, great leader, absolutely fantastic. What did Shah Jahan do? Did he train his next generation enough? Aurangzeb? Well, wife died, and therefore he was mourning and spent all his wealth in building Taj Mahal. Well, we thank him from the bottom of our heart to build a fabulous monument. But what did he do? Just didn't train next generation. And therefore, when Aurangzeb came, we all know Aurangzeb. Of course, we know all the good side, bad side of Aurangzeb. There was some good side as well. But nothing after Aurangzeb. The entire empire died. Because they just didn't build succession. Great leaders, fantastic at what they did, but just couldn't build the next generation. And therefore, we're talking about our subject, next workforce with the next workforce. Are we really building our next generation well? So that our empires, our businesses, our enterprises last for next 100, 200 years. There is a very interesting study that talks about, a study by one of the big fours, that talks about that most family businesses don't go next to 3rd generation. Only 13% family businesses, the study said, goes to 3rd generation. And only 4% to the 4th generation. This means most family businesses will disintegrate in about 50, 60 years. Most family businesses, because 4th generation. And we have seen enough and more businesses disintegrating or dissolving. Let's look at some of the closer ones. I mean, this was history. Let's look at the modern organizations, right, very quickly, without taking too much of time. Murugappa, fantastic, almost 100-year-old group, maybe more, right? 5th generation, beautifully the way they train. Generation is trained on what is the value of wealth, how do you lend money, because they're a large lending company, very, very beautifully trained. And therefore, they also have, like the Roman Empire, pretty much same, that out of the next generation, the 3 or 4 whether children or the nephews in the family, who's most capable to really lead that. And therefore, they've lasted so long. Look at this man, right? He knew what time, at what stage to just move out. And got 3 daughters. And the 3 daughters, because he trained the daughters well, obviously the daughters were trained from almost early childhood. They're teenagers, and all the 3 daughters. A 300 crore company, the 3 daughters built a 3,000 crore company. Because they were trained well, the next generation. So, when we were growing up, when we were in college, when you looked at the 5 top houses in the country, it was Tata. We always used to talk about, because I come from North, a small town, we always used to say Tata, Birla, Mafatlal, Thapar, Dalmia, Modi. And there was large Modi Nagar. Well, fortunately, Tatas and Birlas have carried on. But, I mean, with due respects to these large 4 houses, there's still some businesses around. But what they were about 30, 40 years back, they are just nowhere. My first job was Mafatlal Group, by the way, and I know that when I worked with Rishikesh by Mafatlal. What a great man and a great company. But they just couldn't carry on because family food. They just didn't train their generation. they became from what they were to much, much smaller. And we know, I mean, I can, talk about a few more examples, but, maybe politically incorrect to name some more companies. Right? So this is what we're talking about, gentle ladies. It's about building the next workforce, Companies have done that, history have seen that, and companies who didn't do, or empires that didn't do, they're disintegrated.